saying, oh, Basha against Uranus over the bottom lane. It's nothing new about that. But what's new here is that Arvs is playing a little bit aggressive here to try to delay the purple buff being taken by that Ling.
And in the bot lane, I feel like it's going to be first blood, though.
But that is a complete turnaround here because BMO's still in the offensive here against E2max, and that is big because, yeah, the purple buff was given to Execration, but at what cost? KLVJ died out at the same time.
Yeah, and no more buffs for this Ling early on, and as you said, that was huge for LPE, and that's a win that they would take anytime. Yes, they gave away the first blood, but that doesn't matter. Now the Ling is delayed, and we're talking about the power spike of the Ling that they have to wait. KLVJ here, a little bit too dangerous for him, but he's still alive though.
Still alive, but barely breathing, and LPE is being very aggressive on the invades that they have been doing throughout this entire game. They stole away the purple buff. Well, they stole away the purple buff by killing KLVJ in the process, and they stole away the orange buff, giving it to Arvs.
Yeah, not only that, they wounded KLVJ so bad that KLVJ had to reset for another time. It's almost as good as killing off the core once again. In LPE, they're really playing this early game quite aggressively. KLVJ now level 2, 2 levels behind Ryota. This is insane coming in from LPE.
Yeah, this is the beauty that LPE has been doing. They understand that KLVJ is a strong Ling player, and the only way for them to really dampen the impact of KLVJ, at least for the early game, is to just give him a delay in the levels, give him a delay in the money, as a matter of fact. And as we say that, Turtle being started off by LP, a little bit of an engagement here. They get the stun off of Chaknu. Chaknu really does not have anything to do because does not have the Guardian's Barrier available for him to throw out. He doesn't have the charge, to throw out, and they finally get the kill onto Chaknu. And hopefully they take down Aspect as well. That is a 1-for-1 trade so far. Jake the Dog pops the Meteor Shower. It will deter Execration from staying further here. But they have their eyes once again on the KLVJ. KLVJ does not have the purple buff once again. Renzio gets caught up. They're still going in for the team fights. They want to engage, but this is a good time to back off.
LPE, they're choking out KLVJ so bad right now. 0-1-1. Yes, they did not secure the turtle. But Execration, they're finding it hard to give KLVJ the resources that he needs to succeed. And we're looking at a 3-minute game where there's already an obvious, let's say, roughly 2k gold lead coming in from LPE. And KLVJ, he's gonna take a lot of time before he starts to scale up. This is the first buff that he got after that purple buff that killed him in the process in the early game.
And it's not as impactful for Execration just yet because there is still time for KLVJ to really shine up. And speaking of shining up, getting lit
might just be it.
Getting lit up is ours. Jake the Dog, even though he threw out the Meteor Shower, is not as impactful. Meanwhile, over the bottom lane, Execration managed to secure a kill onto Aspect as well, opening up the turtle for themselves.
That was a good cross-map play coming in from Execration. I think LPE took a very aggressive turn and didn't expect the damage coming in from Execration. They didn't respect what Execration could do. They knew that they were in the lead, but now that lead is gone. One mistake actually gave back the game to Execration. KLVJ was already severely behind until that happened in the top lane, and after that, Execration as well got the turtle. This is just a little bit too bad for LPE. They already built the lead, and now they're digging a hole.
And this feathered airstrike just stuck Arv's back around. He was forced to back off there. And hoping to get another steal on the purple, that's not going to happen. The Electro Final Bro being thrown out, not really impacting in that team fight. Execration will be looking for the counter engagement here. And they get Ryota in the process, and you should not be seeing that. The Uranus falling down first in that team fight.
Yeah, in Execration, they're back online. They're actually just 200 gold behind, but we're looking at a very good early game coming in from LPE that got ruined by very bad decisions going in towards the early mid game. Now Execration, they have the Ling once again. The damage is already online. What could they do in this 2v2?
This 2v2 just played as safe as possible, but LPE wants to fight. They get E2max stunned up and taken out. Chaknu left alive, nothing much that he could do. Meanwhile, over the top lane, LPE looking for another fight, trying to force Kelra in a bad spot because Arvs, BMO, and the rest of LPE are showing up here in the top lane to really delay Kelra, and he is forced to back off using that Blood Orb.
Yeah, and we're looking at 3 people in the top side invested from LPE. They're already aware that it's too late to stop the lane. We stopped them in the early game, but that didn't succeed. At least what we could do right now is to stop the Alice from scaling. But Execration knows that. Execration doesn't want the Alice to not scale. That's why they matched the number of people in the top side coming in from LPE. They're giving the space that the Alice needs to farm up. And as you said, we're already in a 6-minute mark where the Alice should be able to just make an impact in this game. But in the bottom side, though, this might be a small skirmish.
Yeah, a small skirmish that might be big because the turtle is up. Lane priority in the bottom lane for LPE, but the turtle is still wide open. We see the rotation coming in from LPE to really favor themselves towards this turtle, and they need to make sure that they secure this, not allow KLVJ to secure this turtle again for Execration. As that's happening, Renzio's flanking around in the back lines, looking for an opening to potentially catch Jake the Dog for that matter. They get a 3-man stun over in the back line, but they still manage to take down Aspect. E2max falls down by the hands of BMO. Electro final blow being thrown and utilized to really give up that much of an impact in that fight. And now it's relatively a stalemate here for LP and Execration.
Renzio, though.
Yeah, Renzio's low. That's already expected. There's nothing much that he can do there against 3 members.
That was a 2-for-1 in the favor of LPE, and I just have to say that Execration, they played that well, but LPE, they played it better. I feel like, oh no though, off cam, that's gonna be a kill on the Sylvana, and things are still heating up here in the mid lane. Feathered Airstrike won't land on BMO that much. BMO will be dashing away back to safety. The turtle is still up, and both teams are trying to secure more objectives around the map.
And the longer the game plays right now, the harder it is going to be for Execration, considering the fact that the death timers right now for MLBB is a hell of a lot longer now. You can see a maximum of 110 seconds out, and if KLVJ is out of the fight for 110 seconds, that's the majority of the damage output, or at least the cleanup crew for Execration out. So they need to play it as safe as possible.
Yeah, and playing it safely is indeed a good game plan for this game, but the aggressive gameplay coming in from LPE early on actually gave them the edge that they wanted to have by mid-game, but not as planned. They still got KLVJ, Execration still got KLVJ online, and LPE, Aspect, he's not really playing that well as well. I mean, 0-3-1 on this Roger. He won't be providing a lot of damage until he gets those items.
And it's looking like a turtle fight here as Renzio gets spotted out by LP. Will do a lot of damage, and here comes the rest of Execration to just back things up here. And Jake the Door, the dog.
Jake the Door!
Jake the Door is closing the door for that fight. The turtle is crucial here for LP. They need to secure this. They don't want to give it to KLVJ once again, but it is a grim hope for themselves.
Yes, and this is the Ling securing the turtle. They're going to be massive. Endless battle already picked up by KLVJ. Execration, this is their power spike right now. They have the Ling online. Kelra is already at a point where this Alice is going to be a big threat in the backside. And of course, Renzio will do a Renzio thing, just soaking up the damage. In Execration, I feel like the gold score doesn't actually show it right now, but they're in partial control of this fight.
This is big if they manage to catch an E2max, and they do. That final stabby McStab there by BMO just secures the deal for that matter.
Yeah, and as I was saying that Execration had control over this game, LPE proves me wrong. Great ultimate coming in from the Sylvana, and immediately after the Sylvana gets one, a 2v2 happens here in the bottom side.
These are Brusco brothers for that matter. Beautiful charge and taking down Jake the Dog in the process. Ars left alive here, but BMO will be there to back things up.
Oh,
Final blow doesn't actually connect onto Renzio, and they manage to get 2 off of that as KLVJ enters the fray. BMO, only one left alive here in the bottom lane. There's nothing much that he could do, and he just needs to back off.
Execration, they know their tankiness. They know that they could fight it underneath the turret, but looks like it's going to be a 2v3 here.
It has to be a 2v3 here. Low HPs are low, but KLVJ is uncontrolled. The HPs are disappearing here on the side of LP, and they're out. BMO, just 1 HP in the dream for him, and the dream is not going to happen.
Man, LPE, I think LPE bit more than they could chew there. They knew that they could fight Execration, but they did not expect that the backup was already there. Again, map awareness is key here for LPE. The range coming in from this Farsa is insane. The moment the Farsa finds opportunities and just drop down those feathered airstrikes before the fight even begins, or as the fight is just brewing, Execration will find the edge that they need to just secure objective after objective. Meanwhile, for LPE though, LPE, Arvs has to find the Farsa almost all the time if they want to win a fight. It's gonna be hard.
It is, and Farsa has been doing a good job. Etomax has been doing a good job just staying in the back lines, making sure that he is all safe, relatively speaking. Speaking of safe, Nemo is not safe because being chased down here by 3 members of Execration would be impactful. They're already getting the Benedetta shut down.
Yeah, and the Benedetta being shut down is not good news for LPE. Benedetta will be one of your key players in every team fight, trying to get down on the lane or just they have the ability to duel.
Oh
but
no,
looks like feathered airstrike.
Aspect gets completely bursted out by that feathered airstrike, and this is just good fundamental plays from Execration. They just look for an opening. As soon as they get the stun, they roll through with it.
Yeah, and speaking of rolling through, this box has been massive for Execration, setting up, soaking up damage, and now they're gonna start the Lord. This is what I told you earlier, Nomad. They find the opportunities, zoning out, and just getting those objectives straight. But LPE, they're gonna contest.
They will contest. Arvs will not be able to secure that Lord for themselves, and this has to be a back off here by LPA, and it is.
It's going to be hard to steal away an objective from Execration considering that Aspect was gone that entire fight. Aspect right now is 0-6-1. If we're talking about shutting down the core, Execration has done it better than LPE. 0-6-1 Roger won't do much until we reach a late game phase where the Roger is already caught up in items. So Execration right now, they're really playing to their strengths, but it's not that big of a lead for now. It's still a 3k gold lead, still anybody's game, and LPE, they're delaying the Lord quite good here. Actually, no, Execration delayed it for themselves. They want to pile up with those minions. 4 people from LPE invested here in the bottom side, and just Chaknu will be zoning out a lot of people as Execration will just siege down mid lane.
Yeah, I like how Execration didn't walk with the Lord there over in the bottom lane in order for them to secure more objectives elsewhere in the fight, and that is how you should be playing the game. You should be securing the objectives. If you can't find a fight, look for objectives.
Yeah, and look at this rotation. Super beautiful. They started with the Lord in the bottom side, had Chaknu to zone out 4 people that defended there, and in the mid lane, they invested 4 people to get the outer and inner turret, only to transition to the top side inner turret. That rotation gave them 3 turrets in less than 2 minutes, and that's how you play with the Lord.
Just look for objectives, and objectives has been what Execration has been going for. Earlier on, it was all relatively even, but we are slowly starting to see the struggle coming in from LPE, where they weren't able to single out the objectives. It took them a while to secure the bottom lane tier 1 turret. The tier 1 turret in the mid lane is still standing 13 minutes in the game. That should not be the case, and because of all the turrets falling down for the side of Execration, it's a wide open map for them.
And speaking of a wide open map, as they took down the objectives, as they took down those turrets, we've seen a big gold lead grow as well. We're already looking at a 34 to 40k advantage coming in from Execration, and they got like around 4,000 gold and just pushing around with the Lord. They haven't touched the base yet. We still have a lot of our inhibitor turrets up for LPE, and that's good news if you're an LPE fan. But LPE, they have to find a good fight that they will win before Execration scales up with the next Lord coming in a minute and a half.
But it's going to be hard though if you're LPE, but because if you're going to look for a team fight here as LPE, who are you going to burst down first? KillVJ is hard to catch, as well as Etomax and Kelra. And as I say that, speaking of catches, KillVJ getting caught actually, already low on HP, forced to use the Tempest of Blades to yeet out of the opposition here. BMO, first one to fall down in that jungle fight. Woo. The purple will get secured by Aspect himself, gets the mini stun up onto Aspect, and he gets taken out of the fight. And this has to be an Execration game now. This is Execration's game to lose for that matter, because that is a clean 0-4-3 trade, trying to make it a 0-4-4 trade. Might be a wipeout, but Etomax is already out of the equation. Ryota, really the only member alive here to make an impact in this fight, because Arv's job is to really just catch Chaknu, catch Renzio to get a little bit more space to get KillVJ.
I love this though. Execration backed off after winning that fight. They know that they can't risk the lead that they already made. I love this. Execration with the discipline. They know for a fact that they can't risk this game. Game 1 in the best of 3 series is very important. That sets the pace. And Execration, they're very aggressive. Yes, they got a 3 for none, true. But they still held on to their discipline. They knew for a fact that the risk is not worth it. The Lord will be up in a few seconds. If we mess up in that fight, the Lord will be going to LPE, and they might just turn around the game. So Execration, they went back, will set up for the Lord, and eventually push again with an empowered Lord or a luminous Lord on their side.
And LPE needs to make sure that they secured the Lord for themselves, because if Execration secures this Lord, the Lord's going to march straight down the mid lane, and they would have a lot of space to work with on the top and the bottom lane to have an easier time ending the game. As it stands, Lord is already at 3/4 HP. You're doing a good job. LPE looking for an opening here, but no opening whatsoever is available. They cannot steal the Lord.
Yeah.
And this is the Electro Final Bow being used by BMO to escape, but it doesn't matter. He still gets bursted out by 5 members of Execration.
Yeah, and this is the Lord marching down in the mid lane. Execration looking to have full control over the late game in Game 1, as we're seeing a almost 10k gold lead coming in from Execration. The Lord's fairly fast here. Execration will be guiding that Lord in the mid lane. They won't be going towards other lanes, but if you look at the map, it's already pushing in their favor. This might be the final push, and there might be a final fight.
Here comes the Feathered Airstrike to really zone out the members of LPE so that they won't be able to push out and try to take down the Lord as fast as possible, but they still manage to do so just yet. Chaknu forced to use the dash in, rages himself in towards the backlines of LPE, but doesn't really catch anybody here. Kelra low on HP, but will just be able to Blood Orb out of there. This is a good defense from LPE, but at what cost, though? All their lanes are open at this point.
Yeah, I have to agree. Great defense coming in from LPE. They have the wave clear, they have the damage. And it's true, they've defended successfully and now they have waves pushing in their favor, but that's only in a matter of time. Mega Minions marching around in top, mid, and bottom for Execration will just slowly make a better push for Execration. And now that they have established better map control, Execration could just clear out the jungle for LPE, make LPE just turtle inside their base and eventually just go in for the GG push, because as we're looking at the gold lead right now, it's already 12k, and that's massive.
Oh, that is massive. Beautiful Winter Truncheon being used by Kelra to buy a little bit more time, buy a little bit more damage, but LPE is still trying to fight back here. It is 1-for-1 trade. Ryota low on HP, still managed to barely survive there. No Electro Final Blows available for BMO anymore because he does not have the damage output. He does not have enough items to be an impact in that team fight.
Yeah, and looking at how LPE defended that once again, it was very beautiful, but Execration, 1 man less. Will they still continue for the siege?
And Frenzio is trying to secure the siege for themselves. Ryota forced it back off. You don't want your Uranus half HP more often than not, in Execration with the discipline, not pushing. Wait for the next wave. Potentially wait for the next Lord.
Yeah, and Execration, as I said earlier, very disciplined in terms of finishing the game, but discipline sometimes is also the killer of a lot of teams. Sometimes that killer instinct loses itself in the discipline of your team. Like, you could have finished the game already, but the discipline inside them just told them to just wait for the next Lord, try to take less risks and just go for it. And now Execration, 80 seconds on the Lord. This is just more room for the Roger to find himself in this game. Again, we're looking at aspects 0, 7, and 1. Using the Retribution will be up the moment the Lord is up as well, but it's still gonna be hard. Aspect is severely behind. If we're looking at Aspect right now, he has to survive, then steal away the Lord. But the question is, will he survive? Execration has been on point in terms of finding the core for LPE.
Yeah, and Aspect is way behind in items. KLVJ already has 6 items locked in. Aspect is yet to complete his 6th item, and that is not what you want to see. We're 90 minutes into the game. You're severely behind on this, Roger. Yes, we're reaching a point where the gold difference is not going to matter anymore, but the fact that the time that Aspect does not have the 6th item, he's not an impact in this fight.
Yeah, and almost everyone in Execration already has enough gold to carry their game in their own right.
And Renzio is left on the right-hand side of the map. but he will still manage to make it out alive, still being worked on here by Arbs and Aspects. Meanwhile, Jake the Dog gets taken out, and that is a huge opening for Execration, because this might just be the GG push eventually, as it is a 1-for-1, a 1-for-3 trade. And it's only 2 members left alive here for LP, and Execration eyeing out to end this because all the lanes are now pushing forward towards their base, and it's just Bimo defending this. There's no way that he'll be able to defend this from the members of Execration. Ryota forced to fall back, and he will be bursted down completely, chipping out the damage, and it's looking like Execration will secure game number 1 in this best of 3 series.